Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about C language or introduction of C language. Before beginning, we have to discuss some basic part to clear your basic concept. As we know that computer has two major parts, software and hardware. Here we don't need to discuss about hardware. Let us look at software. Software is divided into three major parts. The first part is operating system. As you know that operating system is a basic concept of your computer system or basic thing of your computer system. If you don't have a operating system installed in your computer, then you can't do anything with computer. The second part is application software. Some examples of application software as MS Word, Excel and PowerPoint, AutoCAD, Tally. If you want to create documentation, then you can use MS Word. If you open PowerPoint, then you can create your presentation. It means what? All this software have some limitations. The next part is a programming. It is a basic part. Why it is called a basic part? Because if there is no programming, then there is not possible to develop operating system or to create application software. Let us look at evolution of software. Whenever initially software development processes begin, then they were initially used only 0 and 1. As you know that 0 and 1 is known as a binary language. All electronic systems or working of all electronic systems are depend on 0 and 1. The next layer is a machine language. Machine language is understood only by a machine. It is a limitation of machine language. The next one language is a assembly language. In assembly language, you can use some alphabets with numeric values. The next part is a procedure oriented programming language. C is a application of procedure oriented programming language. But if you look at the uppermost layer, it is a object oriented programming language. It means in today's date, the latest layer is a object oriented programming language. But the special thing about this diagram is today all these layers are equally functional. Therefore, before going to object oriented programming, you have to must know about procedure oriented programming language, that is C language. The examples of operator oriented programming language are C++, Java, .NET. That is, new technology is fully depend or fully developed by the using concept of object oriented programming. What is meant by language? I talk to you why? Because I talk to you and you understand it. Why? Because you know the English language. If two-person want to make communication, then they must know the language of each other. Like this, whenever you type a program or whenever you do your program, then you are going to talk to computer. Therefore, you need a language. That is, language is a better way for communication. From the programming point of view, the process of writing the instructions sequentially known as language. In today's life or in real life, we are done our work by using some logic or by using some sequence. Here also we need some sequence. Computer already has two languages, high level and low level languages. High level languages is used to control the software whereas low-level language is used to control the hardware. What is meant by programming? Programming means return the instructions in logical flow. What is meant by logic? As we discuss in real life, you can perform your all work in a specific sequence that is known as a logic. If I will say that write down this point, then you have some notebook, you have pen, and then you start the writing. That is known as a sequence. Let us take a simple example of sum of two numbers. For this sequence, we have to need some first two numbers, then give an instruction for addition, and then you will get the output. That is the basic working of computer is depend on a sequence, that is input, process, and output. It is known as a logical. That is, you if you have a program, then think what is the input, what will be the process, and what is the output. It is known as a logic, or it is known as a sequence of instruction. It is a simple concept. Now let us start with C language. Here is the simple history of C language. In year of 1972, Martin Richard first found BCPL language. BCPL stands for Basic Code for Programming Language. It is also known as a B language. In the same year, Ken Thompson and Dennis Ritchie added some feature to B language and give a name C language. Why C language? Because alphabetically after B there is C, therefore it is known as a C language, and it is found in Bell Laboratory, USA. Here are the some features of C. The first point is C was initially used for system programming, where you can design your own operating system. Let us look at this point. Unix operating system was developed using C. That is, by using the programming, you can develop your own operating system, as well as you can develop your application programs or hardware control programs also. In C, we provided variety of data types for structured programming, so it is powerful. What is meant by data, or what is meant by data types, we will discuss in detail. We will see this concept in detail further. Whenever you want to use any programming language, then there is the important role to execute your program is of compiler. In any type of PC, the C compilers are available, and you can run your program very easily. In C, functions are subroutine. This helps in keeping language small. C is a procedure-oriented language, therefore you need a number of inbuilt or predefined functions. All these functions are stored outside your program, therefore your program look a small program. Programs written the one drawback of C language is the C is a DOS-based programming language. DOS-based means what? You don't have a GUI screen, that is a graphical user interface. As well as C programs are very fast and efficient to execute. If you learn the further languages, then you can easily understand this feature, what is meant by fast and efficient to execute. Now we start from a basic part, and this part is familiar to you. It is operator. The first part is arithmetic operator, that is our simple operators: plus, minus, multiplication, divide, mod, etc. The next part is a relational operator. Relational operators are used to define relation between two variant or two numbers. For example, less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, not equal to. All these are known as relational operators. Logical operators in C, logical operators three types of operators: and, or, and not. We will discuss it later. Then assignment operator, plus equal to, minus equal to. You have an increment decrement operator also, plus plus, minus minus. Conditional operators, question mark and colon, and bitwise operators. Now it is an important part of C, data types in C. As you know that any program work by using data. What is meant by data? Data is a information. If you have a data of student, then what is the data? Roll number, name, marks of subject, total, percentage. All these things are known as data. A programming language give you a way to storing the data, but here different types are used to store the data. Why? Because if you want to store a information of student, it has a different set of values, that is integer, or name is alphabetical, percentage is a fractional number. Then all these things, if you want to store in memory, then i- it must need a different memory space. Therefore your data is stored in different types. What are the types? The first type is integral, then derive and user defined. We will discuss it as per requirement. The first part is integral, and the first in integral, the first data type is a integer. In integer, you can store whole numbers, that is without any decimal point numbers. In float, you can store a fractional number, and in character type, you can store alphanumeric data, or alpha. Even you can store a symbols also in character data type. You can also store a digit, but if you store a digit in character type, then that type of digit is treated as a character, not a number. The next one is a derive. Derive has two types, array and pointer. In C, we have these two topic in detail. As well, also user defines also has a structure and type define. But here we have to focus on integral type. Let us discuss in detail. It is a very important chart. The first is the data type integer. It has a format %d. D stand for decimal number or decimal number system in computer. It allocates 2 bytes in memory, and its range is plus to minus. That is, you can store in integer positive as well as negative value. 327672 minus 32768. If you want to store a salary of employee, and if you have a salary 40,000, then is it possible to store in integer? No, it is not possible. Why? Because it has a range only up to 32767. Got it? Okay. If you have a big value, then you can use a long integer. Long integer has a format %ld for long decimal number. It allocates 4 bytes in memory, and it has a this one range. It also, you in this type also you can store a positive as well as negative value. Then there is unsigned integer. It allocates 2 bytes, and it has a more range than a simple integer. But unsigned stand for no sign. No sign means what? Only positive value. Because for negative value you have to give a sign. If you want to store a fractional value, then there is a float. It allocates 4 bytes in memory. and the its range is 3.4 Mantasar is to 28. That is, it has a big range as compared to integer, long integer, or unsigned integer. If we want to store a big value, then there is double. In some case, we have to need a accuracy. For accurate result, you have a accurate value, and that for that value you have a type double. If you want to try this simple, you know that the value of pi is 3.14. If you want to accurate value of pi, then this value is too big. That type of value is can't be stored under float. Therefore, in some special cases, you can use a double. Here, character has two formats, %c and %s. %c stand for allocate only a single byte in memory, and its range is a range of operating system. Character, the second part is has a %s. S stand for a string. String means what? It is a set of characters. Then why here the memory allocation is not given? Because here it is depend on you what size is given to a character. That is, if you want to store your name, you can give a 10 character, 20, 50, 100. Any size you can give to a character for percentage. If you give a 5 size, then it allocate the 5 bytes. You give a 50 size, then it allocate a 50 bytes, and so on. The next important part is a variable. Variables are a name, location in memory. If you want to store some data, then you have two variable. If you want to perform addition of two number, then also you need a three variables. Why three variables? Because two variables for a number and the one variable to store your output. If you have a program, then your first step is to think about variables. How many variables is required to perform a program or to create a program? Therefore, variable is a very important part. While declaring variable, you have to specify the type of variable. For example, you know the type now, integer, float, and character. If I tell you that take an example of mark sheet of student. In that case, you have variables roll number, name, marks of subject, total, and percentage. Now, for the better practice, you can modify this data in integer, float, and character. For example, roll number and marks of subject to be stored under integer. Name is stored under character. Percentage is stored under float. Like this, if you have a program, then you first decide how many variables you require and modify these variables by using data types. Here are the some examples. ABC. Here the variable ABC is of integer type. It means what? In ABC you can store only a numeric value or whole number value. In character, the first variable is only able to accept a single value. Why? Because here the size is not given. After all, there is 10 bytes are given. Therefore, by using percentage, you can store here up to 10 bytes. That is starting from 1 till the 10 bytes. While declaring variable, you have to satisfy some rules. The first rule is name of the variable should be start from alphabet. You can declare variable like roll number, name, total, percentage, but the first letter should be alphabet. Underscore is also allowed as a first letter. Space is not allowed within the variable name. If you want to write a roll number, then don't give a space in between roll number, or if you want to separate the variable name, then use a underscore character. but space is not allowed in variable name. But space is compulsory in between data types and variable name. As we see here, here is a space between data type and variable name. Underscore character is allowed, not dash, not dot, not any other character is allowed while declaring the variable. Variables declared under a single type are separated by comma. Here you can declare many integer variables, but separation is done by comma, as well as the termination is done by semicolon. Semicolon is used at the end of the variable declaration. Next part is input and output in C. In C, no special keywords are used. Then what will be used? In C, we can use a inbuilt or predefined or library functions to perform a input and output operations. Console means what? Console means DOS base. All these input output functions produce only a DOS based output or text based output. You don't have here a graphical user interface. By using C graphics, you can use screen control or graphic functions. These graphics functions are able to draw simple basic 2D graphic shapes. Then what are the functions used for input and output? Let us see. The first function is a printf. But as we know that it is a library function or predefined function. Therefore, you have to follow the syntax of this function for programming. Here is the syntax: printf, open round bracket, double quote sign, your text, then format specifier. Format specifier means what? %d, %s, double quote complete, comma, and variable name. If you want to give simple message, for example, if you want to print your name as output, then what is the syntax? Printf, bracket, double quote, text, double quote complete, bracket close, semicolon. But whenever we discuss about output, then what is meant by output? Output means what? If you calculate some result, then that result is a output. Therefore, this syntax is to display a text as well as result. Because format specifier is used to print as well as to scan value from a user. If you want to print your result, then you must know the format specifier. After that, which value will be print, and you must know you store that type of result when you do your calculations. You store the result in variable. Then which variable value you will you want to print. For that purpose, you have a format specifier. If you have a number of variables, then you have a number of format specifier. If you have a two variable number one, number two, then here you have to write two times format specifier. And this function print values by using given sequence. The next function is input. If you want to scan some value from user, then you have to write input function, and that function is a scanf function. What is the format or what is the style? Scanf, bracket, double quote, format specifier, double quote complete, comma, and give the variable name. This and is work as a address at memory location. Before doing all this thing, you have to declare a variable. Whenever you declare a variable, then immediately that type of variable allocates some memory address, and this AND is useful to store value at a given memory address by using the variable name. If you don't give a AND, then your value will not store in memory, and this value is not available while you perform your program. Therefore, AND is very important in scanf function. These are only two functions, input and output function, but while doing the program, you have a number of functions. The first function is a main function. Name of this function is main because it is a main function. Your whole program is enclosed within this main function, or your program is start from a main function. This main function is executed by underlying operating system. The next function is clear screen. It is used to clear your previous output. getch. Getch is useful to display output on screen, only to display output, not an input. If you write a program for sum of two number and you give a message, enter number 1, enter number 2, after that you write a process and then print the output sum is equal to. In that case, if you miss a getch function, then what happen? You will only get a enter number 1 and enter number 2. But don't worry, because while doing the program, we have a habit to write a getch and then only the program get closed. Therefore, we never forget this function during the program. C has a number of library functions, but now we only see the some important functions. We will discuss getS and flush all later, or when we need these functions, we will discuss about it. All these functions are stored within the library. Then what is meant by library? Before that, let us look at the detail part. The main is a library function. Main program is begin by using a open parenthesis, open curly bracket, and close by using a curly parenthesis or curly bracket. This open curly bracket and close curly bracket known as a scope. It means what? If you write a main and give a curly bracket, open curly bracket, it means your main function, the part of your main function is begin, and if you close it, then the main function is get closed. You can use this curly bracket anywhere in the program to define a scope. Semicolon is known as a terminator. At every line of your C program must be terminated by a semicolon. You can also give a comment. It is a single line comment. By using double slash, you can give a, sorry, it is a multi-line comment. By using double slash, you can give a single line comment also. Slash star is the beginning of comment and star slash is the ending of comment. As we know that all library functions are stored in a library files. Then what are the library files? All C compilers come with a standard library functions. The functions are placed in library files, and these functions are placed within different types of library files. Later, you can also create your own functions, and you can also store that functions in library files. Different functions are stored. We will see what are the library files. Before that, it is a simple concept of preprocessor. As name implies that preprocessor, pre and processor. It means what? Before processing your program, some other part is also there in your program, and that part is known as preprocessor. These preprocessors are used to give some instructions to the compiler. But during the program execution, these preprocessors part are not translated into machine language. But it is important. Why? Because it is operated before beginning of your program. Preprocessor begin with hash symbol, and it is compulsory place above the main function. How to write preprocessor hash, or how to include the header files. Hash include header files. What are the header files? The stdio.h, that is standard input output functions, are stored under this file. Printf, scanf functions are stored under stdio.h. Console input output function, get ch, clear screen, these functions are stored under conio.h. Mat.h, mathematical standard functions are stored available under mat.h file. String.h, string means what? A set of character. It also has a number of functions. We will see this file later. But as you know that your every program must contain input output function and console function. Therefore, in every program you have to include stdio.h and conio.h header file. By using hash, you can also define a constant also. What is the structure of C? First, by using a single line comment, you can write a heading of program, then include the header files. After that, your program begin with main function. Main function is also divided into declaration part and executable part. As we discuss, if you have a program, then you first decide what are the variables, and that type of variables declare in which type of data type. Then declaration part is to declare the variables by using appropriate type. Then there is executable part, that is you first write a input section. What will you need for to perform the program is the input section. Then perform the calculation by using process section and display the output. Then what is this part? This part you need when you want to create your own functions and you want to use your own function in C program. It is not a compulsory part, but for first program you need this one part. Here are some concept: constant, integer constant, character, floating constant. Integer constant means what? Sequence of digit. Character constant must be enclosed in a single quotation mark, and if you have a set of character, then double quotation marks or double quote. Floating constant suffixed by f, 2.5 f. Symbolic constant, you can also have symbolic constant, that is hash. If you want to include, then hash include. If you want to define a global variable, then hash define. You can use symbolic constant also. Then you already see what are the rules for variable declaration, but some other rules are here. You in C you have a keywords. Keywords means what? It has its predefined own meaning. Therefore, these keywords cannot be used for a variable name. Our keywords are lowercase. These are some important keywords: integer, double, float, goto, if, for, while. You have to learn all these keywords to perform the program. Comment. Comment is a two type: single line and multi-line comment. The single line comment is given by double slash, and multi-line comment is given by a slash star star slash. Comment are used to enhance the readability and understanding of program. Comments plays very important role. By using comment, you can understand your program, or you can write your program in well style. If anyone open your program, then that program is also understood by the person. These are not executable statements and are ignored by the compiler at the time of compilation. This comment is only useful to user or to programmer. Here we have some escape sequence, that is, it has some meaning. For example, slash n used for new line, slash 0 for null character, slash t for horizontal tab. All these sequences are useful while we perform the program. Mostly use slash n, slash t, slash 0. Here is the important part. If you run your program, you will immediately get the output. But you must know, whenever you see your output, then your program is passed through the different stages. What are these stages? Let us look at the screen. Whenever you type your program or you create your program, then this program is stored in computer by using extension .c, and this .c file is known as a source file. Whenever you compile the program, then the compiler must check header files or library files. At this stage, compiler will also check your syntaxes, comma, semicolon, or some typing mistakes. If you don't have any error in program, then the object file is created. This object file is then linked by the linker. When object file is going to link by the linker, then functions are checked: printf, scanf, clear screen. All these functions are checked by using with the help of library files. If your program is successful, then there is executable file is created, that is .exe file. Object file is not in human readable format. You can directly run the executable file and you can directly open the source file. To try this, you will need to do one thing: create your folder and store your program by using .c extension. Then close the C and open your folder. You will find only a single file, .c file. Again, open the file and compile and execute it successfully. Then you will find that if your program has a name abc.c, then abc.c, abc.obj, and abc.exe. These three files are created after successful execution of your program. Here are the details. See these details or read it. Okay, thank you. In next lecture, we will see the next part.